Hi, I'm going to give a little tour of our garden today that we did. My husband and I decided to have a vegetable garden, but I have to give him all the credit that I just wanted a garden out in the yard, and he came up with this great idea of building a garden right off our house that can be easily accessed from inside the house. This is my sunroom that I'm touching right now, and this is part of the garden. And our cat can also come out and enjoy the garden with me and not get out. But the animals like the deer and the woodchucks and the rabbits cannot get in. Anyway, I'm going to give you a quick tour. I've made a lot of mistakes because I've never vegetable gardened before. And one mistake I made was not planting things where they should go, but I have this has been a learning experience, and next year I will have a much better idea of exactly where to plant things and all that. These are my tomatoes. I have like 3 or 4, maybe more than that, different varieties, and I'm growing them up so I can have a ton of them. Tomatoes are one of my favorites, and I will be canning them and making salsa. These are string beans. It's the climbing kind. If you want to zoom in and show them some of my big tomatoes down there, they're get some nice big beefsteak ones going there. So far, the only tomatoes I have that are ripe right now are the grape tomatoes and the cherry tomatoes, which I have in pots. I want to show them the cherry tomatoes in the So these are the grape tomatoes, and I've been eating them already and putting them in salads. And then I've also been freezing them. You can freeze them. You just put them on a cookie sheet and freeze them, and then once they're frozen on the cookie sheet, then you put them in a plastic bag. I do have peppers in the garden too, but I also planted a lot in pots. So these are the ones in the pots. And then these are my cherry tomatoes, which is my absolute favorite tomato. All right, now if we go to this part of the garden, this is where I have all my squash, cantaloupe, and melons. I have acorn squash, spaghetti squash, and butternut squash. And that squash is growing up the fence. It's not supposed to. I think I have an idea when it actually bears fruit, how to protect the fruit so that it doesn't just fall right off. If you're wondering what's on the ground, it's cocoa bean mulch. Even though it can be kind of costly, it's a great mulch for vegetable gardens because it enriches the soil so well, and it also deters insects and slugs, which I have a huge problem with slugs. I'm going to walk this way a little bit. Walk down. These are 2 different kinds of beans. They don't have the tendrils that go up the fence. They just stay this size. And I've got to stake some more because they're kind of falling into my carrots. Right next to the beans is I have carrots. And where I'm standing was radishes. Radish season is over for now, so that's why they're all gone. They were absolutely delicious. If you saw my Instagram post of my radishes this year. Easiest vegetable to grow is radishes. If you can't grow vegetables, try radishes. And in the fall, when the weather cools again, I'll just replant the radishes, or plant more radishes. All right, let's go this way. If you're wondering, this is the door that goes inside my house. It's the lowest level of my house. Our house is 3 stories, so this is the 3rd story is sort of what do you call that? Where you can just step outside. It's not a basement, above ground basement they call it. All right, so there's the garden I was just in, where the tomatoes and the beans and the squash and the melons are. And then this is the rest of the vegetable garden. It's actually 3 tiers. 1 tier is outside of the fence. But let's start here. This garden has been kind of my problem garden because we don't have the drainage issues worked out yet. It needs a gutter. It gets flooded every time it rains. And we also, before we had it encased, we had a woodchuck come and he decided to eat all my romaine lettuce. Just had a great time enjoying this beautiful salad that I put out for him. But in this garden, we have celery, and I keep my herbs right here. Like, look at this basil. Is this gorgeous or what? I keep my herbs right here so it's as close to the kitchen as possible. So I have a recipe that needs fresh herbs. This is where I'm going to keep them. This is cauliflower. And then I got some broccoli. And all of this was damaged by our little woodchuck. It was so beautiful. But now we're completely enclosed, so he can't get back in. Fingers crossed. Got some spinach, which isn't growing well right now because it's hot, and spinach is a cool plant. But the kale, oh my gosh, you guys, I cannot believe. Someone's gonna have to explain to me why they charge so much for kale in a grocery store, because it's gotta be the easiest plant to grow. If it looks a little sparse, it's because I just harvested it yesterday. And again, it's so easy to freeze. You just, cut off a leaf, wash it, chop it up, put it on a cookie sheet, and freeze it, and then put it in a plastic baggie. And then this morning when I made my smoothie for breakfast, I just grabbed a handful of kale right out of the freezer and threw it in my smoothie. Strawberries. I put 2 strawberries in baskets this year. And I kind of, when I'm out here, I just kind of grab one and eat it. But in the fall, I think, or very soon, as soon as the stores have mums come out, I'm going to plant mums in here, and then I'm going to probably put these in the ground so I have them for next year. If you're wondering about the flowers, I planted a few flowers like marigolds and nasturtiums. So not just make the garden prettier, but they're supposed to deter bugs. All right, the next level is, we're not done yet, so this is a work in progress. I emphasize a work in progress. We're going to pave this pathway so that it doesn't get so filled with weeds. And then we're also going to screen in the porch so we can come out here and not be bit up by bugs. And then, of course, everything's going to get a nice new paint job. This garden has all these different lettuces in there, and I've been harvesting it, and so have, every time I want to sell it, I just come out here and grab some lettuce leaves. And of course, the woodchuck ate a lot of it. And this garden is all my peppers. I grew every kind of pepper imaginable because I want to make lots of salsa. And my favorite vegetable, and the vegetable I probably eat the most of, is peppers. And you can so easily freeze peppers too. So this is all peppers in the first 2 rows. And in the back row is all my summer squash, zucchinis, and cucumbers. We do have a beautiful yellow zucchini that's starting to grow. I'm so excited to eat one of those. All right. To make the garden prettier, I added some flower pots. I just real cheap $5 flower pots from Menards, and I just hung them on these shepherd hooks on the rafters above. And then and I also used shepherd hooks that just stick in the ground, like this one right here. And I used different heights. Some are really low like this, and I got a higher one. Now on the other side of this fence, when my husband was digging this out, he kind of dumped all this dirt in here, which kind of ruined the flower garden below. And so then I had all this empty space. So I just threw potatoes in here. To my surprise, and onions. There's also onions in it. To my surprise, both are growing amazingly well, since this soil was not amended at all. But beyond this fence is where the perennial gardens and my flower gardens and everything are. And over here we have more broccoli. And then I just want to show you, I planted a few petunias just to make it look a little pretty. And here I have sweet peas, and the first time I planted them, they did not come up at all. And then the second time I planted them, they came up sparingly, and then some even died. So not really the best of luck with the peas. But that's all right, the beans are doing well. And then this garden gate right here goes out to my main yard and my flower garden. So as you can tell, I just love it. I think it's beautiful. It's not even done yet, and I can't wait to show you the whole thing when it's totally completed. Probably not till fall, but I wanted you to just get an idea for now. Thanks for watching.